For today's double indie game review, we have two different takes on good old-fashioned RPG design. First, the dungeon crawler Scarmonde, and then JRPG meets Tetris with the Flowstone Saga. Scarmonde takes us to the mysterious town and tower, where people have gathered to brave the depths of this giant tower in order to find the kind of dragon's treasure at the bottom of it. But why does anyone remember how they got here? Why do they have flashes of a previous life? And how come no one seems to ever understand what this place actually is? Well, as it turns out, it's going to be up to you and your party of 4 adventurers to solve this mystery. Scarmonde is essentially a kind of, as you can see by our graphics here, very inspired by the looks of Final Fantasy, but this one focuses more on dungeon crawling and party management rather than a kind of narrative or fixed story. At the beginning of the game, you'll create your party out of a wide variety of classes. Each class has specific gear requirements, a unique passive, and they'll each come with their own kind of unique skill tree, which has both active and passive skills related to it, and there's also a generic pool that everyone gets access to. And from there, your quest begins, as you'll have to dive deep into the dungeon, finding clues, items, resources, and lots of monsters that need to be killed. Progression in terms of your characters is about collecting these different level up orbs. The orbs correspond to kind of different skills that you can buy for each character, and your orbs are pooled among your entire party. This becomes a very big deal, as different skills will require different MP costs and different amount of level up orbs in order to unlock them and make use. This is a game that is very much kind of a giant RPG puzzle. How do you solve this game given the party that you build? You could go for like a heavy tank team, all magic, you want buffs, debuffs, dodging, blinding, poison, you name it. And the game does a really good job of giving you just a lot of tools, far more than you would ever need for a single run, in order to make this work. You can also unlock the ability to kind of dual class your party members as well. The gear that you find in this one is quite interesting. The starting town will upgrade its gear based on how far you go, but there's a lot of items you'll find hidden throughout the world that provide kind of massive boosts along with massive disadvantages. You can get a piece of gear that drastically lowers a character's defense, but now their magic spells can be cast for free or reduce. You get another item that grants you super high evasion, but maybe at the cost of something else. And it's how you build your party that is where Scarmonde is at its best. And as I said with kind of the story of this game, there's a lot more here that meets the eye. One part of this game turns into a quasi-open world of just massive exploration, and you'll really need to kind of learn what is going on here in order to make sense of the story and to figure out where you need to go within the game. This is all well and good, but Scarmonde does suffer some of the classic RPG issues, namely when it comes to skills and their usefulness. This is one of those games, like a lot of classic JRPGs, where your party works until it doesn't. And if you run into that one boss that seems to be completely resistant or super highly resistant to how you're built, you're kind of screwed. Like, there's no means to kind of get around that in a game like this. You see, you can't unlearn or respec your characters easily. I'm not sure that's even an option, at least when we played it. So the only other way to get more skills is to grind the level up orbs, but getting them is not guaranteed out of different fights. And I ran into a boss, this was I think near, I want to say the end of the game, that was this giant fire dragon that not only went multiple times each turn, but I couldn't blind it, I could rarely poison it, and it just proceeded to destroy my party, because that's what my party was built for. Now, there is an important detail to keep in mind about Scarmonde. The footage that you're seeing is taken from like the first week or two of the game's release. Since then, the developer has released balance patches to try and make some of the classes more favorable, improve skill usage, etc, etc. I have not had a chance to play the game since, so I cannot comment on if things have been better balanced since then. With that said, Scarmonde is one of those games that it's going to tap into a very specific market. If you are someone who likes the dungeon crawling style of RPGs, your wizardries, your Etrian Odysseys, that style, then this is definitely going to be the game for you. But if you're needing of a story or you're looking for far more like involvement in terms of the characters and the plot, just like the dungeon crawlers of old and new, this is probably not going to be the game for you. What makes Scarmonde work is definitely what's under the surface of it, not just in terms of the story, but with the variety of classes and how all these skills intersect. This is not going to be like the most complicated JRPG or dungeon crawl you've ever played, but I like how there's so much variety in terms of the skills and character designs of it. So this is definitely comes from a recommendation from me as a fan of dungeon crawlers and spending a whole lot of time trying to create that perfect party of 4. We go from dungeon crawling to block placement with Flowstone Saga. We play as Mirai, a young woman who lives on an island village, where she mysteriously wound up there several months ago. But when she stumbles upon mysterious ruins that grants her the power to manipulate flowstones, she soon gets involved in a larger mystery of the world, where bad guys are out to get her and she may be the only one to save the day. Our gameplay here kind of takes the JRPG combat and, well, shifts it into Tetris. When you run into an enemy on the field, you'll go into a Tetris battle where you'll need to make lines and rows in order to actually attack your enemy. Now, with that said, this is not your traditional take on Tetris. You'll gain access to special abilities that will basically allow you to manipulate the board or manipulate your tetraminos that will drop. You can go for kind of multi-row combos, or you can go for like a rapid fire set where you're just constantly matching lines as quickly as you can to build up a combo meter. You are graded after each battle, which determines, I think, your overall experience in it. Enemies will of course vary in terms of their dangers and how they'll try to attack you or manipulate the board for you. This is one of those games that it does start off quite slow. You only have access to a few tetraminos at the start and not much in terms of spells. As you level up, you'll be able to choose different perks that you can use to influence your playstyle. Do you want to go, once again, for trying to match as many lines as you can in a single go? Do you want to go for smaller hits, critical hits, etc, etc? And this gets further embellished once you get access to kind of spirit frogs, who will kind of become your quote-unquote class in the game. The one I chose is basically the chaos kamikaze style, where you get all kinds of very weird pieces that don't quite fit, but you also get the power of dynamite. And when you blow up a line with dynamite, it causes additional damage, which then lets you blow up more stuff. The only problem is that if you're not fast, your board will quickly fill up and, well, you die. The difficulty of this one will greatly depend both on what difficulty you choose, as well as your own particular skills when it comes to Tetris. You can play in kind of hold mode, where instead of it being real time, it becomes kind of turn-based, making it a lot easier if you're not good at kind of the rapid fire nature of Tetris. Difficulty will affect kind of the enemy's aggressiveness as well as their stats, and the general flow, pun intended, of this game is that you'll go into different areas of the island trying to beat up the quote-unquote bosses of each area to get resources that you can then go back to your town to improve, unlocking additional functionality, more quests, etc, to then go back out and repeat it again. And then of course, as the story develops, more bad things will happen, more revelations will be revealed. Flowstone Saga is a very interesting take. This is not a game that's really going to be about being a pro Tetris player. And if you are like really good at Tetris and only play this game like that, you may end up having some trouble when you get into some of the more advanced enemies that require you to clear specific abilities from theirs, or to use your own abilities properly in order to deal with them. I like the use of the different classes to kind of allow you to influence how you do this Tetris style. Now with that said, if you completely and utterly hate Tetris, tetraminos, and matching or filling up lines, Flowstone Saga is definitely not going to turn you into a lover of that. But with the different difficulty settings and different powers, it does again help to ease some of the kind of frustration or the difficulty if you're not a really good Tetris player like yours truly. So I would definitely recommend this one if you're looking for a very interesting and original take on, well, both RPG and Tetris design. And with that, we are done with our double review. Again, two very interesting and great RPGs for very different takes. Scarmonde was played with a retail key, and Flowstone Saga was played with a press key. Until your game for a future stream, it does not have to involve CRPGs, JRPGs, Tetris, or anything like that. Please reach out. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about these games down below, and see everyone in the next video. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and if you're interested in more in my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.